Here are 3 signs that you're ready for entrepreneurship, even if you don't have a single customer. So in about March of 2018, I remember I was working at school, and I remember we were going for a spring vacation. I was thinking to myself, yes, I can't wait to get away from these kids. And I remember I had the best time of my life. I live in Miami, so I was going down to South Beach. I was going to other places in Fort Lauderdale as well. Basically, I had a really great time. I even went on a vacation, and it was really fun. It was fun because, man, I didn't have any work, didn't have any duties to worry about, and also I was still getting paid. But I remember when I came back, how dreadful that day was. I remember pulling up to the school and my anxiety started to rise. And I remember as I walked through the door, I just felt a huge lump in my throat. This lump in my throat is typically a sign for me when I have anxiety. And I remember it was just a very, very defeating feeling I felt when I walked inside the door. And the reason why is because I knew that I had 500 students to look after. That meant 500 parents that were calling me and dozens of teachers that needed me for all of these students. So it was very overwhelming. And I hated it. And I thought to myself, man, I'm 6 months into this new job. I just spent $50,000 on my master's degree. And here I am thinking and ready to quit my job. And that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me that, hey, this is not for me. And that was very defeating. I was very worried because I thought, man, what am I going to do next? And I remember thinking to myself, what is it that I love about my job? And for me, it was speaking to students. It was helping people with their problems. So I said, how can I take this aspect of my job and make it the majority of my job and not the very small percentage of what I do on the day to day? And it hit me. It hit me that I should become a therapist. And when I did that, everything changed. I started my business. And I struggled at the beginning of that business, but I was able to learn marketing, copywriting, and also I just learned how to be a better therapist. And now I have the dream of my life, right? And it's being able to be a therapist on my own terms. So I told you guys this story because I want to tell you guys the signs that you need to look out for to show you that it's time for you to ditch the 9-to-5 and now become an entrepreneur. Now to start that dream job that you always wanted, that dream business rather. And there's going to be 3 signs that you need to look out for. And the last sign is a crucial one. So you need to make sure you stay for the end. Now, with that being said, I always tell you guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I share so many gems that I share in my private therapy sessions that I share with you guys for free. And I don't want you guys to miss this stuff. It almost feels bad that people pay me for the same advice that you guys listen to for nothing. And that is why I want you guys to subscribe because I don't want you to miss another episode. So with that being said, let's get into the first point when it comes to knowing that you're ready for entrepreneurship. So according to Gallup, which is a website that talks about public opinion in the workplace, it stated that 85% of people in this world hate their jobs. And that's a lot. That's a high percentage. I think some people would think maybe it's 50, maybe it's 25. But to say that 85% of people hate their job means a lot. And it says something. It says that a lot of people are waking up day in and day out and they're forcing themselves to go to a place that they do not enjoy. And one of the funniest things about that is that when you look at the time you spend at your day job versus the time you spend with family, you will realize that you spend more time at work with your coworkers than you do with your own family. So therefore, it is imperative that you enjoy the place that you spend so much of your time. So this is a great sign. And the point that I'm going to make here is that if you have a deep resentment for your 9-to-5, it is time for a change. And I'll even go a little bit further. If you find that this job and the last job and the job before that, you've had deep resentments for, right? If you hate working for a boss, if you hate asking for time off, if you just hate being told what to do, then that is a sign that it's time to make a change. Now, here's the thing. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of great 9-to-5s out there, right? You can be a doctor, lawyer, surgeon, right? And I can even name other things like being a teacher like I was, right? And specifically, I was a high school counselor. If you love those things, trust me, entrepreneurship is not a route that you have to go. But if you resent those things, then I would tell you it is time for a change. The second point that shows that you're ready for entrepreneurship is if you have a deep yearning to learn a specific niche. So for me, whenever I walk past a Barnes & Noble, I always go to 2 sections in the bookstore. 1 is the psychology section and 2 is the entrepreneurship section. And what's funny about that is both of those sections are right beside each other. So I never have to travel far. And if you look over here, you'll see that there's a bookshelf full of books. I got to tell you guys, when I was growing up, I hated reading. As a matter of fact, I was put into a remedial class because my reading skills were so poor. But once I realized that it was something that I loved within these books, when I loved the fact that I can make money by learning specific skill sets, reading became a passion of mine. It becomes such a passion of mine that I can spend hours in a bookstore where I used to spend hours in a game store. So it's totally different. for you listening, if there's a specific niche, a specific topic, something that you love doing more than your day job, if you find yourself learning skills outside of your 9 to 5 instead of the skills in your 9 to 5, then that should tell you something. That should tell you that there's something that you are deeply yearning, something that you're deeply interested in. And that is the key for motivation. When we look at the skills that are needed, you need to first make sure that you're very passionate about what it is that you want to do, because it's going to be the passion that gets you from level 1 to level 7 of the skill set that you're trying to learn. Because let's face it, even as an entrepreneur, I started off as a beginner. Let's face it, as a therapist, I started off again as a beginner. But because I love both of these topics, it made it very easy for me to go deeper into these subjects. And I would even say I spent a lot of money investing in myself with these two subject areas. So for you listening, if you feel that time flies by when you're learning a specific topic, I would say that area is what you should be focusing your entrepreneurship business, your entrepreneurship journey on. Main point number 3, the final point that shows you that you are ready for entrepreneurship, is if you've been through hell and back in a specific area of your life. You know, entrepreneurship is not all what it's cracked up to be. I remember there were times where I was losing $4,000 a month. And when that was happening, a lot of stress came with it. And man, you look on Instagram, you look on YouTube, and you see all the beautiful stuff when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? People on the beaches, people taking first class flights, right? People having bank accounts that have obscene numbers in it, right? Like 7 figures, 8 figures, right? And you're like, man, that has to be the life. That is so beautiful. But the part that they skip, the part that you may miss, is this grind, it's the struggle that they went through to get there. So if you've been through hell and back in a specific area of your life, like for me, I've seen this with sports, I've seen this with my physical health, I've seen this even with my family growing up, just coming from a very impoverished family. This gives you the resiliency that you need to go through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, because trust me, it is a journey. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be tough for you to get through it when times get tough. So again, if you've been through hell and back and you have a way to bounce back from tough times, you're someone that's ready for entrepreneurship. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude these 3 main points that I made when it comes to being ready for entrepreneurship. And the first sign that I made was that if you have a deep resentment for your 9 to 5, for me, it was walking into the building and just feeling a wave of anxiety. I've never felt anxiety like that in any other place of my life except when I went to work. And that showed me that this place was not fit for me. The second point that I made is that if you have a deep passion for a specific area, right? So for me, it's psychology and entrepreneurship. For you, if it's marketing, if it's the stock market, whatever you love studying, if you find that you just lose yourself in it, right? Like hours just fly by, then that is a deep sign that, hey, this is something that you should pursue on the entrepreneurship side. Because once you have that passion, it's going to help you to get through the ups and downs. And it's going to help you to go from level 1 to level 7 in terms of your skill set in this subject area. And then main point number 3, as I just stated, if you've been through hell and back in a specific area of your life, if you've been through tough times, then this shows that you are ready for entrepreneurship, because there's a certain mindset that you have to have when it comes to this area. Because let's face it, entrepreneurship is a journey, it's a battle, it's a sport. And I really love that idea that it being a sport, because as you know, it takes time to get better. You have to train yourself physically and mentally to be ready for this game. And this is something that's going to take a lot of you and more for you to be successful at it. So my name is Coach Wells. I'm so glad you stayed it to the end. That says to me that you took a lot from this podcast. So what I would love for you to do is comment below. What did you think about it? Which one of these 3 signs really stuck with you? And I would even love to know, what is your business idea? If you were to start a business today, what would it be? All right, leave that comment below and I'll definitely leave a comment back. All right, I'll see you later.